What is going on, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome to another edition of the Tuffy Talk live show. You got myself, Leighton, Carson, Macon, and Greg was just here, but during the loading period, he decided to run away here. So who knows? Maybe the ram roast was getting burnt, but we'll definitely ask him about that here once he jumps back on here, as it is officially Go to Hell Carolina week. Always love it. Always look forward to it. It's a fun one for sure. And to start it off too in a pretty good way, obviously, not only just with everything else going on across NC athletics, but also too as well. I got to give a shout out first and foremost to the NC State Ice Pack for getting a 7-0 butt whooping on UNC in the Governor's Cup last night, actually, at the Lenny, actually. So always love to start off the week that way with getting a pretty sufficient victory over UNC for sure, and in front of a pretty good crowd as well. Carson, I saw you nodding your head. Were you at that game?
No, I did not, but I want to add that 7-0 win, you score a touchdown on them.
In hockey, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, absolutely. So, but with that being said, though, well, we'll jump right into it here. And so, first of all, actually, if you've been with us before, you know the drill. But if you haven't, any questions, concerns, thoughts that you have on any of the topics that we are currently addressing or should address, make sure to put them in the chat. We will get to them all here today. But first and foremost, we'll jump to the most. Greg just said his browser crashed, so he'll be back here with us momentarily. But let's get into the most recent news here first, especially with you, Macon, being here. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it as well on this. But obviously, NC State men's basketball today realized that unfortunately you're going to probably go an entire season, not going undefeated, unfortunately. And so, unfortunately, the NC State's long undefeated stretch of 4 games in a row came to an end today, losing 85-74 in the first game at the Maui Invitational to Seton Hall. Obviously making initial thoughts here about the game before we start to answer some of the questions that are some of the thoughts that a lot of NC State fans are having right now after this game.
Yeah, that was pretty frustrating. Seton Hall hasn't played anybody this season. I mean, you look at who they played. Fairfield, Monmouth, New Haven, St. Peter's, they played nobody. And to me, I thought it was a bad loss. Now, I don't know what quad that loss will be categorized at. I know it's a neutral site game. But you got killed in the paint. I mean, there were so many broken down plays defensively for us where there was just no I guess, pressure against Seton Hall from getting into the paint and scoring on us. I mean, they had 40 points in the paint And the other bit of part too is their rating for their pace going into this game was like one of the worst in the country. They were playing pretty slow, and they beat us in transition and fast break points 22-7.
Mhm.
I don't even know how, but they had 11 steals and 9 blocks against us.
Wow.
I don't know. I mean, I just think that was we've seen that to this point already, where the team that we have right now has getting up to speed defensively is taking some time. They've definitely allowed people to drive in on them and shoot threes. In the last game, we talked about how this team was giving up a lot of 3-pointers, and this team they were giving a lot of twos. Just want to check the 3-point shooting here. Yeah, they
Yeah.
shot. They had 22 attempts, so they mean a reasonable number there, and they shot reasonably at the three. But they shot 31% from three against us, but they shot 51% from the field. So that means that they were shooting somewhere in the high 60s to in 2-pointer range for us. And it's just not going to cut it. You let teams get in the paint. They shot 50 on us in the second half. Like, it's just not. You're going to lose games like that. And honestly, I was thinking about the kickback we were probably going to receive on social media too, about like, hey, the Red Reckoning, and then you lose to Seton Hall, and but there's still a way to make this tournament worthwhile. There's still games that are going to be good to play. It looks like we're going to be playing Boise State at 2:30 tomorrow.
Yep.
And we'll play some other teams come out of that the day after. But I really thought this team should have been better than that. I thought the defensive pressure that Seton Hall gave and put us under really bothered us. I thought Matt Abel had a nice first half. I don't know what he finished with. Matt Abel finished with 15 points. But then Darian Williams only had 2 points in the first half. Denon Lubin apparently was your best player of the game, and that should be saying something, because I didn't think he played a very good game either. So, I mean, I probably did, but I didn't really think it was. It was my first half impression. 16 points, 9 rebounds, and assists. So,
well, he's not a guy that's going to pop off your screen. But
if he's your leading scorer, if you're leading scorer when you're the opposing team, and Denon Lubin's your leading scorer in the box score, you feel really good about that.
Agreed. Yeah. Carson, I mean, obviously the Darian Williams, the guy that's preseason ACC player of the year, shot 4 for 8 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, got you 12 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. And Trey Holloman gave you 11 points. Paul McNeil once again struggled today, 1 for 5 from 3. Musa Sagnia as well. We'll talk about him a little bit, but it looked like he suffered a little bit of an injury as well. Don't know if we've really heard much about that. Jerry Dang, who's been a 3-point sharpshooter for us pretty much the entire season so far. Keep in mind, again, it's only 5 games. He shot 1 for 4 today from 3. And Terrence Arsenault, who was finally coming back from injury, only played 7 minutes here. So to me, it was really just a bad game from everybody top to bottom. Just on the offensive side, yes, you scored 74 points still, but again, it definitely bared in comparison to some of the performances we've seen NC State put together in the other games this season. And on top of that, defensively, we just unfortunately we're just getting bullied the entire game. There's really no other way to say it. We just got bullied. Inside the paint, in pace, in effort, across the board. So, I mean, would you say that's a pretty fair analysis of NC State's performance today?
Yeah, I think very good analysis. You're gonna have games where the ball just won't go in. You play flat from a shooting perspective. 74 points. You want to do better, but that at the same time, that's not horrible, right? The bad thing is the allowing the 85 points. I think I've been a little bit disappointed in defensive performance in the last 2 games. I mean, when the first 3 games we were great, but we were playing against teams that were very inconsistent in shooting. So the defense really sticks out to me and something that needs to be improved.
Yeah. So, Greg, with that being said, I decided to come out and be the NC State Wolfpack Nation's therapist and say, all right, do this with me. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. And saying it's just one game. It's only 5 games into a long season. We haven't even smelled ACC play yet. And that got met with a bunch of different comments like, we are frauds. We'll see. Maybe we won't. They showed zero effort. That's the frustrating part. At least Keats's teams showed effort. So maybe we should have gotten Keats back. So with that being said, Greg, what is Coach Wade's buyout? Go
The
for it, Greg.
Will Wade era of coaching officially begun today.
Exactly.
We when everyone, we talked about it, especially on the podcast, like what was Wolfpack Nation going to look like after Will Wade's first loss? And we are who we thought we were as a
we
fan
are
base.
who we thought we were. Yes.
Look, you're gonna have these games. I think the frustrating part for Wolfpack fans on this game is this is really. I mean, you could maybe say the VCU game was a step up in competition. They're an okay team, but this is a team from a power conference from the Big East, and this is what you put up, and it just didn't look good on a national stage in a major holiday tournament. And so, of course, everyone's going to jump off the Will Wade. Not everyone, but this is why I honestly, after the loss, I haven't even been on social media. Could care less.
I have not either.
It's a loss on November 24th. Did we not look good? No, we didn't look good. We got beat up. We had 9 block shots. They had more points in the paint. We had the most turnovers we've had. Missed a lot of early free throws. Now we got better in the second half on those, but again, just take it, flush it, and learn from it. And I think these guys, this is going to be a wake up call. And
that was something against VCU as well. The turnovers.
There was. And again, you've started to see some of these cracks, like you kind of said, Carson. But it reared its head against the step up in competition. Yeah. Good thing is they've got a game tomorrow, so they'll have a game in less than 24 hours to see what they're made of. And Boise State, winnable game, lost a close one to USC. But that's a game that you should win, that they are a lower, mid-major type opponent.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to say was this team, like, they're going to have to figure out how to guard. Like, you can't – I'm saying that generally, but, like, this team seems to heavily rely on three-point shooting. And
they came back to earth today, didn't they?
Right. If you're not making shots, what else do you have? And, to me, you're going to have to be not just an elite shooting team, because there's going to be nights where you're going to be cold, but defense travels. You should be able to figure that part out. And to your point, Greg, it's November, like, it's early in the season. It's the first month of basketball. Let them figure it out, but they have to figure that out. So,
yeah. 2 other takeaways for me. Of course, up to this point, ranked teams have been undefeated against unranked teams. So, of course, NC State's the first ranked team to lose to a non-ranked team this year. So, congrats. And then the other part for me, Darion Williams didn't take enough shots. 8 shots is not enough. He has to take more. He has to be more involved in the offense. Even if nothing else,
I don't think he got the ball enough in the first half.
I agree. And when he has the ball, he's a difference maker, whether he's making shots or facilitating. Like when he's right around the foul line, right at the top, kind of like they don't run a triangle offense, but it kind of like, he's kind of like a mini point guard, if you will. When he has the ball, good things happen, whether he's putting it on the floor, making a play for himself or his teammates. That just didn't happen today for whatever reason. And then I guess the last part, those rims suck. Like those were like the softest rims I've ever seen in my life. I get it. You're playing in a high school gym. I believe that's a high school gym. But my gosh, like for a major tournament, can we bring in some new rims?
Yeah.
Again, both teams had to use them, so that's not an excuse, but it was just weird.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that especially when you're having a tough shooting day like that, what's the best, what's the best fix for a cold shooting day? Go to the rim, layups. Like that's a great
100%.
way to get
The
a.
problem was I thought there were times they tried to do that, and Seton Hall just smothered them.
They did.
I mean,
I mean, 9 block shots. Yeah.
9 blocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, you have to get creative, right? One more
Exactly.
pass, do something, like there was times where there's got to be an open person, and if you drive and then dish, like they can't cover everybody.
Yeah,
No.
I think your point that might be the key thing there. Listen to the analysis on there, and I thought, I'm not a big Jay Billis fan, but I thought he had a good point. I think they were not moving the ball very much. Don't think in the first part of the game, and I don't know if they finished with. I'm going to double check this here. They had 14 assists, but I bet you that number was pretty low in the first half. So, yeah.
What I think honestly the most disappointing part of this game is that out of the second half, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Seton Hall started off the second half on a 10-0 run before we eventually got our first basket.
Yeah, that was pretty much the end of it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just not how I want to see a Will Wade team respond coming out of halftime. You know what I mean?
Last thing I'll say on them today, if they had just made free throws, their momentum would have shifted. I think they would have seen they were not making free throws in the first half. There was a ton of points left out there. They probably could have been leading if they would have just made their free throws. So,
Yep. So with that being said, reading the room here a little bit, Greg, what's your worry right now of this team? From a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being, en fuego.
Yeah, I'm at a 5 right now. Again, it's a November 24th game. There are some patterns that you're seeing. They're correctable, I feel. I think some of it was just a little bit of effort, which I hate to say. Look, Hawaii can be a distraction. I don't know if that has anything to play into what happened, what we saw today. It was a 9:30 in the morning game. Maybe they just didn't get up going in the morning. I think
it was? I think they were probably getting a little too big for their britches and not really letting reality sit in of like what they're going to have to do to be what they want to be. I think that I saw somebody put out there in Twitter world, one thing I did see was like humble, like it was a headline called Humble Pie.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's what they needed, to be honest with you. I think they're probably thinking like, oh, we're coming out here, Red Reckoning, and did that kind of stuff. And
only team that was ranked kind of the odds-on betting favorite to win it. They just thought all they had to do was show up and that the trophy would be handed to them.
I think that was part of it. I think that should be a wake-up call for them. I really hope they figure it out tonight because I think Boise State could also be a tough test for them eventually. So,
yeah, Mountain West is a pretty decent conference in basketball.
They get a lot. They get a lot. They get
like four or five teams in the tournament usually every year.
Yeah. I mean, you could make a case they're an unofficial Power 4 team. Like if you had to rank conferences, they would probably be obviously just outside the Power 4.
Yeah,
but they're definitely one of the top 6 or 7 conferences in basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, so we won't spend too much more time on that. This weekend we got a lot to get to here today, and especially because
the losses. Go ahead and just talk about women's basketball.
Yeah, I mean, here I'll hear Greg. Yeah, that's I'm actually concerned about. Greg, if you want to introduce that, go ahead.
Yeah, just what is it? 3 in a row now that the women have lost. Just another inability to close out games, and I forgot the score. I don't have it in front of me. I think we lost by 5.
68-63, something like that.
68-63 to Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
anybody tell me what Rhode Island's mascot is? Because
yes, I know they're the Rams.
The Rams. That's right.
Yeah.
But still, point being,
yes,
that there was
any other one not named Greg, because Greg knows stupid facts about stuff that I shouldn't know facts about.
Like, here's my thing, Greg.
Yeah.
Honestly, are we like in football, for example, like the Miami, the Bama, that always gets a little bit of like the media love? Honestly, I'm like, just just take away our ranking, honestly. Like, why are we number 25? Get us out of there for now. Like, we've lost 3 in a row. We just lost to Rhode Island. Okay. Like, you know,
Are we still ranked? We were still ranked.
Yeah,
It's
we're
number
we're
25.
25th.
Wow.
But to me, that's to me, to my point, that was probably because of giving people the giving favor to what our program's been lately. Like,
Yeah.
we're
That's
like,
what I'm
okay,
saying. We're getting the
People
Miami
not
and the
watching
Jimbo
games.
treatment. Yeah.
Yeah, and
no,
that's
exactly.
that's. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a good thing because of the shift in, I guess, perspective and on the program. But
Yeah.
I mean, I get it.
You haven't deserved the ranking.
Yeah, I mean, you did lose 2 fairly well-ranked teams in TCU and USC. Again, you should have won the USC game. You just couldn't make a shot in their last 3 to 5 minutes of the game. TCU, you were outclassed in that game. But just for me, and we've talked about it multiple times, and I mentioned it, when you lose the veteran leadership that you lost last year with Hayes, Sanaya, and Isaiah,
Yep.
who was going to step up and replace 1, 2, or 3 of those? And you just haven't had it. And the transfers that you've brought in have not met expectations to this point.
Mm-hmm.
And
No, I mean,
you don't have the buy-in. I don't think you have the buy-in that you would get. And that's the problem with a Wes Moore who demands a lot but gives you a lot, and someone that he hasn't had in the program for multiple years.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'll shoot it to you straight, Greg. I mean, there's been no leadership on the court so far from this team, and to be honest with you, again, I mean, I'm not calling this player out because, you know, I'm calling this player out because, I mean, again, I'm like, you know, unfortunately for her, but fortunately for her, she's played so well, and we have honestly, you know, really kind of planted our flag in this player this year, saying this is the player that's going to lead our team this year. And Zoe Brooks has been a tremendous disappointment so far this season, honestly. You know, I mean, against, you know, USC, she had her best game, 24 points, 11 rebounds, yes. But against Rhode Island, 8 points. Against Coastal Carolina, 13 points. Against TCU, 6 points. Like, you know, that's just not going to cut it from a player that is this talented and also has this much experience. Like, this isn't a player that's a true freshman. This isn't a player that's her first or even second year. I mean, again, this is a player that has been in big games, has performed in big games, and also too that, like, again, has been in a Westmore system now for a few years now. So it's just it's you know, it doesn't lend you well and you know, to really lean on a Zamaria, who's still trying to find herself as a player in college basketball, Tilda, who's on the rise for sure, who has really, you know, been a huge piece for this team. And honestly, if Tilda hasn't played as well as she has, I would be nervous of where we would actually be right now. Mm-hmm. So it's just that that's really where it is. It's like Zoe, like, we need more from you. We need more from you. You know, come on. Like, you know, you got this. We've seen it. You can do it. But also too, as well as, I mean, again, just I think that this is definitely going to be a big opportunity here for Westmore getting started in this Cancun Invitational here of like, all right, can this be a reset? Like, can this be the, you know, the come into Jesus meeting? All right, guys, let's come together. Like, this is not going to work. You know, our season is going to go down in flames quickly if we do not figure this thing out ASAP.
I guess for me, looking at Zoe's stats, her numbers are very similar because she averaged 14.2 last year. She is down a point. You look at that, not a big deal, only a point. But where you look at is her shooting percentage. Her shooting percentage is way down. Like,
but she was also the 4th option on the team last year. She should be the number 1 option this year, bar none.
I get it. So you're looking for about another 3 to 4 points on top of what she was already giving you. Is that kind of what you're looking for? I mean, like, what are you looking for from her exactly?
Well, in a situation like, I mean, again, the 2 losses, most recent losses you've seen recently, you've seen 8 points from her against Rhode Island, and 6 points from her against TCU. So what I'm saying is, in a situation where our back's against the wall, I need to see you come through for us, you know, in an aspect. Like, at the end of the day, you know, if we're going downhill, we're going to go downhill, you know, swinging, and we're going to swing with our best option, and that should be Zoe Brooks most of the time. That's more of what I'm saying, because her role is different now compared to what it was last year, obviously being with Sanaya, Isaiah, and Madison.
Yeah, for me, Camille Pierre has got to get it going. That's who I'm gonna, that's who I'm gonna call out.
Oh yeah, no, it's not one problem. There's
Yeah.
Zoe's not the only problem here. Yeah, that is for sure.
I mean, her points and rebounds are down by half, and I get it. I know she's still trying to figure out how she fits into this whole system, right? It's a completely different system. So am I being a little harsh? Maybe, but again, this is a person that you brought in with a lot of oomph behind, and it just hasn't panned out yet. And then you could say the same for Samuels, another transfer who's kind of just been slogging through the marsh through these first few games of the season. Again, I think there's potential there, but she's got to step up. There, again, to your point, it's not just about Zoe.
No, definitely not. So Carson, I mean, would you say like what's the one big thing that like, if this upcoming in this first game in Cancun, if I see this, I'm going to start feeling a little bit better. What would you say that one thing is?
Better ball movement and better shooting. You can't win games if you you can't win games if you're only shooting 34%. And that's what we did in these past 2 games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. Well, and honestly, make it too. I think that honestly, one of the biggest things that's been hurting us, like you talked about free throws and men's layups too, just missing so many layups and game after game after game. It's just, it's the most frustrating thing. And one of the most simplest things in all of basketball. And it's just, we can't even get to 70-80% in layups.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to have some get right games in theory here in a little bit for those kind of items, but they're going to need to figure that out pretty quick because it's going to be turning up here. I got Oklahoma, Seton Hall, Miami coming up, so but they got a couple games here in between the Green Bay and Southern Miss they can figure out. But
yeah, no, the Oklahoma game, that's gonna be an interesting one for sure. So, especially on the road too, as well. That's you're not getting Reynolds support there with that either. But
and I guess your hope is playing this tough schedule early on that you're going to get some things figured out. So even if you take early season losses like we have, we're not even a third of the way through the season, a quarter of the way through the season. Like it's really just getting going. But again, there are some cracks in the armor that there's like with the men we talked about. There's some trends there, right? And so it's up to the coaches and the players to say, okay, we see what's going wrong. Now we have to figure out a way to fix this, or it's going to spiral out of control, and we won't be able to get it back into the box.
Well, and the last point I want to make too, and we can start to finally move to the good stuff here eventually. Is here's my thing too, is that if there's been one thing with this women's program that I think Westmore and people nationally kind of plant their flag in when it comes to NC State women's basketball, is that you do not come to Reynolds Coliseum and come out with a victory. It just does not happen. Like this is like the the Alabama football, or like the Clemson, the Virginia Tech.
Hold on, they won championships. Hold on, you can't necessarily.
I know, but just more saying like listen, it's going to be insanely tough for you to come into this house. Period. No matter how bad or good those teams are,
right,
and win just because of it being as tough as it is. And Reynolds Coliseum for women's basketball is, if not the toughest, top 3 easily in terms of how hard it is to get a win there. So the fact that in the 3 games you played so far, you've lost twice.
Yeah, you don't. I can't think of the last time we've lost back-to-back games in Reynolds to that point. Right.
Yeah. I think it was in 22-23.
Really?
When we played Duke and Boston College, but those 2 games were over winter break. So
and keep in mind that they haven't lost 2 in a row. They beat Coastal in between.
But that's right.
That Coastal game though,
it was closer than it needed to be.
Oh wow. Like that was, they actually beat us in the second half +8 in points.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's right. I did forget about the Coastal game. But still, like 2 losses in a season, and we haven't even got to conference play.
Yeah,
we've not gotten to December.
Yeah,
there you go.
So, yeah, definitely. Okay, so Greg, you said 5 for men. Where are you for women right now?
6.5.
Okay, Macon, what about you?
That's surprising.
Yeah, I'm a little higher, but Macon, what grade would you give?
You said surprising, Macon. Why you think it?
I think more so I think it's relative to where you ranked your concern for the men's basketball team. I think that's why I say that, because to me, the way I rank the men's team is probably like a 3. Like, it's so early, and they've shown elite shooting, whereas I haven't really seen that from either one. I haven't seen that from the women's team, and they've lost more games that they should not have lost with more with a higher pedigree, I think. So I'm kind of thinking maybe a 6.5 is probably where I would appropriately rank the women. I thought, because you said the men were a 5, I thought you were going to be like an 8 or something like that.
No, you're right. I didn't think of it as a 5 in that terms. I was thinking neutral, neither good nor bad. But yeah,
okay.
I could see. Yeah. No, I'm not nearly as concerned for the men. The one point that I would say about the men that I'm concerned about is the shooting on both ends, the giving up the 3-point attempts, and I know Coach Wade addressed that with his media availability last week. For me, shooting is very streaky, and I thought we were hitting a lot of shots that, may not be a continuous thing. Like Darion Williams was just losing his mind from 3-point land for a couple of games there. I don't know if that's sustainable. Some of the, and then, but on the reverse, Paul McNeil was shooting lights out, and he's kind of come back down to reality a little bit over the last few games. So for me, I would take it at maybe a 4 for the men, instead of speaking on, neutral, not neutral to neutral, but I would say 4.
Okay, that's fair. What about you, Carson? Wrapping it up here.
Probably about a 7. Just bad shooting
For the women, right?
Yeah, for the women.
Yeah.
But we have Wes Moore as our head coach, so we can figure it out to some extent.
Yeah,
absolutely. I don't want it to be another one, and again, I don't want it to be another year like we had after we lost Perez, Crutchfield, and Cunane. Where that's
honestly why my worry is a little bit higher, because we've seen this situation before, and it did not ever get resolved. So,
but this team is like, I don't know if this team is like as athletic as that other team, right. And like, again, you had a player in Pierre who was not asked to come back to Vanderbilt. Is there something there long lasting where, is she going to be a positive influence when this team, moving forward? It has this team come together as a team. Is there still room for growth? Will they come together? These are things that we won't know as fans, but it's definitely concerning.
Absolutely. Yeah. But with that being said, though, switching over to some of the good things now, and speaking of good coaching, I do want to go ahead and jump into one piece in particular that is, we're talking about planting flags here. I'm planting my flag here and saying, listen, I think honestly, if you were asked the question of who is the greatest NC State coach, regardless of sports all time, if you do not mention the name Lori Haynes at this point, you're either don't know what you're talking about, or you just, your head's been in the dirt.
I was going to go with Press Maravich, if that's just to maintain this.
You're going to die.
Oh, that is an all-time joke, right, Macon? I love it. That will never die. That will never die. I love it.
Great callback.
Yes. But listen, at this point, I mean, I'll just recap it, so 9-time, probably going to be 10-time ACC Women's Cross Country Coach of the Year, and her, and keep
they haven't voted for that yet.
What's that?
They haven't voted for that this year yet.
I haven't seen it come in yet, but I mean, let's put it this way.
Yeah,
she's gonna get it. Yeah. So she's been in 2006. So let's assume she's gonna get it. So 10-time ACC Women's Coach of the Year, 10-time NCAA Southeast Region Coach of the Year, 3-time National Coach of the Year, probably gonna be 4-time, 72 All ACC performers, 3 ACC Rookies of the Year, 25 All Americans, and that doesn't even add 4 for this year alone. And now she has won 4 national titles in the last 5 years, capping off a 3-peat, one in the middle, one break in the middle, and now adding a 4th one in 5 years. Like, listen, like, I sure hope that the plans and the builds for the statue are in works and stuff like that, because like if she doesn't deserve all the accolades and all the love, then what dies? Like what else could you possibly? Because this isn't just a sport where there's like 20 or 25 schools competing in it. It's cross country. Everybody competes at cross country, and like Oregon, like Oregon hosted College Game Day, and they showed like the drone footage of the track and of the track and the stands and how beautiful it is. We don't have that. And yet we're beating them. You know what I mean? Now for the last 5 years, it's crazy to think about it. When you compare what she is accomplishing compared to the resources that she's given. So I don't know who wants to go jump in on that first, but I did not want to leave here without giving all the respect in the world to Lori Haynes, this program, and these girls and what they've been able to accomplish this year and the last 5 years.
I saw a comment that was ignorant and made me laugh at the same time about saying it's running.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's funny. Like, I mean, you're literally teaching someone to run, which is one of the most natural things a person can do. So genuinely, it's like, how is again, I know she's recruiting them. I know that she's coaching them, but it's running.
Sure.
And so for me, it's hard to like give a rebuttal, because most of us are ignorant and don't know what cross country really entails as far as getting someone better at that. Right. Obviously there's breathing, there's all kinds of things. There's technique
routines.
And yeah, exactly. Routines, and to get stronger, get better.
Exactly.
And so, like, yes, those are things that you have to do, and it's knowing like when to accelerate your runner's, ability, right? Like, giving effort, like don't waste it all in the first 5 kilometers. I don't even know how far they run in these things, but
sure.
It's those types of things. And so for someone to say that, like, it's funny, I get it, haha, but it's also dumb to say at the same time. Like, this is a woman that doesn't get paid a lot as far as when you look at the coaches' salaries. And she should be percentage-wise making a lot of money. But again, it's a non-revenue sport, so she'll never get her true flowers in what her true worth is.
Yeah. But I mean, and the immediate thing I would say to that, and to my rebuttal to that, would be the fact that it is so simple, the fact that so many schools compete in it, but yet NC State the 4 of the last 5 years has beaten everybody. So if it is so simple, like, you would think that it would be more of a toss-up, right? But yet 4 of the last 5 we have won it, because like you said, Greg, like, in football, somebody could say, well, it's easy. Like, if you have the taller, faster guys, you're going to beat a team that is not so much. Well, in running, it's more of what you would kind of, like you said, Greg, a more of a level playing field, but yet 4 of the last 5. So that's it's a,
I get it.
It's honestly so across the board that it actually is still even more impressive. But yeah, no, I agree. That's just more of my piece to it. But Macon, I mean, like thoughts on that, thoughts on because especially too, and here I'll even ask you a more specific question, because I think one of the biggest things with Lori Haynes was going to be how much of this was Caitlin Toohey. Caitlin Toohey being, without doubt, again, you got David Thompson, Caitlin Toohey in terms of the greatest student athlete in NC State's history. How much of it was her? Well, now she's gotten one only 2 years after Caitlin Toohey left. So like she's just, in my opinion, this was a huge victory for her, because it wasn't just Caitlin Toohey.
Right. It's like the Belichick Brady
argument. Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I would just say to that, if it where there was coaching, it's just running. Well, then why isn't every other school competing the way NC State's competing?
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
Something's different, and something's exceptionally different. And I mean, it is a dynasty at this point. You got 4 out of the last 5 years, whatever you've won. So I mean, you don't need to you don't need to talk or explain anything at this point if you're the cross country team. You're just like it's kind of like
Just
the whole
hold the trophy.
scoreboard. It's not the whole scoreboard
Yeah.
comment. It's like, look, trophy. Look at the trophy case. We're fine.
Yeah. So
I think about it in this return. Like we've only had now 6 team trophies on a Division I, not talking club level or any of that stuff. Cross Country owns 4 of those 6. Like, and she's been the coach for all 4 of them.
Yep.
There's just no denying her worth to the university.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, she's still only getting started as well.
Yeah, she's still pretty young.
Yeah, she is. So again, it's more to come for sure here on that. Carson, any final thoughts before we jump on over here to another topic?
Not much. Y'all pretty much covered it, but great for great for the school, great for the program. Over half of our national championships now are from cross country. Or no, they have been for the last 2, but yeah.
So
also just seeing Caitlin Toohey there too was really cool. Like just like supporting her. I know she ran with a couple of the ladies previously, but like the fact that she was there last year, she's there this year, that she's just a great ambassador to her team, her alma mater, that she's just there continuing to support and just being a shining, like seeing, because I watched the replay of it, like she was doing the math in her head going, okay, we're good. We won. Like she knew before everyone else did that we won the championship.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty cool way of it working like that too, where it's very kind of like, okay, we're like, it's kind of like in wrestling, for example, where like the team point tally is like telling you're like, okay, we're good, right? Yeah, they can't get us. Yeah, we won. Yeah, we got it. So no. Now, Carson, we'll jump to sport in particular. I know you follow pretty particularly here, men's soccer here, getting to the second round, or technically is it third round, right?
Sweet 16.
So Sweet 16, third round here. We'll be facing who is it tomorrow?
Greensboro.
UNCG, that's right.
UNCG beat Virginia, and so there's a chance that if NC State wins and the other matchup is High Point Georgetown, it might be that matchup could be, for me, it'd be convenient because it might be NC State High Point right here in High Point. That'd be kind of cool. But
yeah, well, I'm hoping it's Georgetown because then I can go to DC and watch.
Well, I'm hoping it's.
Sorry, we're
honestly, I hope State wins, whoever it is.
That's we have to do that first, right?
Yeah.
But
I mean, one point I want to say, and Carson, I'll let you take it over here, is if it is in High Point, man, that would be a red takeover. I think that a lot of State fans will travel for that. Go ahead, Carson.
Yeah. So in the second round, we beat Morsell, who actually eliminated us last year, and then went on to win the national championship game.
No, Vermont won last year.
They did?
90%.
I know it was Morsell and Vermont. They played in the national championship.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Vermont won.
Okay.
Either way, they made it very far.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we previously played Greensboro about a month ago, and it was in Dale, and we tied 1-1. So this is definitely no pushover, because Greensboro showed that they can play with us. So we're gonna
didn't we tie them?
We did.
Yeah, it was 1-1.
And we had to get a goal like later in the match, if I remember correctly.
I got a friend of mine whose wife is she used to be the all-time leading scorer for the women's High Point soccer team, and they love watching soccer. And they'll say, "Man, Greensboro is tough." And I know people think, "Oh, Greensboro doesn't have a number in front of their name, and they beat number 2 Virginia." Wow, Virginia is really good. Like, man, he's just telling me how you watch Greensboro play. They are very talented and very skilled at what they do. And so, I mean, State's going to have a tough matchup when it sounds like against UNCG, especially being an in-state kind of thing. So,
oh yeah, no, the state of North Carolina is a soccer and baseball mega. So, no, absolutely. So it's gonna be a tough challenge here for sure. But once again, I think coming back to NC State once again, that relativity, we've seen you recently. I think it's gonna be a really good game because of that. Kind of like how why the NBA, NHL playoffs are so good, because you're seeing these guys back to back to back. You're building up. They know now they're like knowing you from a more detailed state. I think you're going to see some really good soccer here, some really good soccer here. It's tomorrow night, correct, Carson?
I think it's Sunday.
Sunday night.
Sunday too. I thought it was Sunday as well.
That makes sense.
Did you go last night, Carson?
I did not. I had a mission trip meeting that I had to go to.
Cool. I was just curious how good the crowd was from some.
It looked great. I watched on TV. It looked great as always. Love the student section buy-in. It's just so cool.
It is definitely a lot of fun. I've sat in there a few times. They have a group me where they talk about a bunch of stuff, and it's really funny to look at what they say sometimes in the in the Red Terrors. But yeah, it's definitely a unique atmosphere. And I mean, if you watch any soccer in Europe, that's sort of what they're trying to mirror. And yeah, they do a really good job.
Yep.
And it's free to go, by the way. Like, from what I understand, like, they didn't charge any money to go see the game on Sunday. Is that a true statement?
No, they did. I think they charge for the tournament.
Yeah, I thought the NCAA cost too, but someone was telling me it was free, and I'm like, I'm not sure about that.
For students, it was still free. You
just
had to request it, I think.
Got you, but then adults, non-students had to pay. That makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what was I gonna say? Regular season's completely free though.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Okay. But yes, as Carson put it on private chat here, but I'll talk about it here. But hey, all Houston fans should be really concerned right now because Syracuse just took them down to the wire. But again, honestly, too, like Wake Forest is taking some teams to the wire. I'm telling you, we're gonna have a lot of opportunities as NC State this year in the ACC particularly. So plenty of opportunity there. But with that being said, got to give a shout to one other piece here in terms of women's tennis. Shout out to Gabby Broadfoot and Tori are winning the doubles national championship. Once again, like we've talked about NC State women's tennis here repeatedly, year after year, saying, y'all, literally they do not charge to get in. They most of the time give you free pizza or food and drink to come. Like it's a lot of fun, and so now you are basically learning before the true season even starts that if you go to a women's tennis match, you're going to watch at least two. You're going to watch the best doubles women's tennis players in the country right now, but also you're probably going to watch some of the best women's tennis players, period, across the country as well. So it's a why not? Why wouldn't you?
And you can watch multiple games at once,
right?
Because for doubles there's 3 games going on, and for singles there's 6 games going on.
Yep.
This is the second national championship in the last 4 years, I believe. It might be 3, but I know it's definitely 4. Where the women have won a doubles national championship. So building a little mini dynasty in that regard as well. So pretty exciting stuff. Oh, and by the way, I think I don't know if they were the first or the second, but NC State won. It was either the first or second national championship of the year with that cross country. So the men's and the women's national championships, they were the first ones to be crowned this year. So I don't know if the women's race was first or second, but if the women's race was the first, we won the first official national championship of the year. So it's kind of cool.
That is cool. Yeah, I'll take that. So with that being said, obviously we've been dying to talk some football here. And first of all, just for kicks and giggles here, did anybody else here, or anybody in the chat chuckle a little bit when they got the notification that Mike Norvell's being held on for another season? Because immediately what I thought in my head was, oh my God, all right, I need to search on Twitter, Florida State, and just watch the fans lose their crap. And oh my God, was it entertaining.
They got a lot of moolah to take care of. There's a lot of money invested in that decision, I think.
Yeah.
I think this is definitely a case where they can't afford to get rid of him, because he's shown nothing why you would want to hold on to him. Like you had Justin Wilcox just got fired, and he's got a winning season this year, but he just lost to a 3-7 Stanford team.
Yeah.
And Cal, I think, was decent last year, if Like overall, his record wasn't great, but he's shown in the last few years that he's kind of slowly turning it around. But they just fired him, and he's won a lot more ACC games than Mike Norvell has since 2024.
Well, and once again, like, what we talked about with Laurie Haynes, what we talked about with Brady Belichick, Mike Norvell has proven that he is Jordan Travis. Like, if it wasn't for Jordan Travis, he would have nothing, zero, nada, zilch. So, yeah, no, definitely entertaining here for sure. But with that being said, NC State comes out on Friday night with a win, which once again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I will never apologize for a win. I will take a ugly, disgusting win, which this wasn't necessarily that, but just saying, like, I would rather take an ugly, disgusting win rather than the most beautiful, perfect loss I've ever seen in my life. And so, and also too, I because especially for that game, I think that what we saw from Florida State fans afterwards, it would have been that for NC State if it had gone the other direction. But one punt hitting directly on the dome later that goes right back to
I think that went back 40 yards.
Yeah, no, it like, yeah, no, I think I was talking with TJ Pittenger who interviewed with Savannah Tujay, a Florida State follower, insider, and he basically said like if you don't believe in God, like after seeing that play, maybe you should go to church on Sunday, because like that is the only way that literally a football could hit a defender right on the helmet and go all the way back to the punter. Like there's no other possible explanation. Physics couldn't explain that. Like it was insane, to say the least. But with that being said, I do want to ask, because this was a conversation piece here, is that would you say coming out of this game, again, keeping in mind how Florida State played, how they've played this season with the Jekyll and Hyde approach, and Macon, I'll ask you here first, would you say that this game you're leaving it saying, okay, maybe the NC State defense is starting to turn a corner here? Or would you say it's no, Florida State was just shooting themselves in the foot all night long?
Honestly, I thought the first thing is sort of the latter. I think Florida State's special teams was just terrible. I think State can maybe be improving. I thought it was interesting, and I had really not thought about it, how much better, and I don't think he was that great the other night, much better CJ Bailey is at home. That State is at home than they are on the road.
Night and day.
Yeah, he was not great the other night.
But he didn't turn it over.
Yep.
Yeah. I thought the defense was okay. I think they've definitely had a bend, don't break mentality for them. They've still given up plenty of points, which is a little disheartening, but I'm just kind of going double checking the box score here on that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but for me, while you're doing that, we gave up 11 points to a team that's been scoring roughly 35 points a game. Like,
they're very explosive. They're right. They're very explosive. And so I think I'll tell you what, I think one of the gutsiest calls Doeren's had this whole time was that 4th and 6. I know we were up by 3, but if you don't get points there and go up by 6, do the more conservative route. He knew Florida State, to your point, Greg, they could probably march down the field and score and win the game right then and there. So he went for that on that 4th down. Thought that was a pretty big call, pretty gutsy call.
Yeah.
But honestly, I feel like that's more an indictment on our kicking game than the FSU going down and potentially scoring there. I think that, I mean, I know we were inside the 10-yard line. That's pretty much a layup for kicking, but like there's just so many things that could have gone wrong with all of that, and that he didn't want to chance it.
Yeah.
And the other thing I'll say, Layton, I think just looking at the stats here again, I think the answer is probably no. I don't know if we took a step up in some ways defensively. We did hold them to 11 points, but they just weren't converting. And I think State has exemplified that in that they've allowed teams to drive down the field, but when the plays that really needed to matter, they're coming up in those moments in a good way. But they gave up almost 400 yards of offense to Florida State. Even though Florida State only scored 11 points, they still gave up almost 400 yards of total offense. They allowed 4 sacks, or that'd be on offense. We had 0 sacks against them. We haven't really got a lot of defensive pressure there the whole season. I just think that the defense is doing enough to keep us in the game, and that's really all you can ask for of this defense this season, in my opinion. So,
well, and Devin Marshall was just a difference maker.
He was.
I mean, he had both interceptions, 5 or 6 pass breakups. Even on the one play where he was, what was it?
He had 4 catches allowed on 14 targets. He had 2 interceptions, 7 pass breakups, and a 7.7 passer rating allowed.
Yeah, it's insane. Well, and in the one where he was able to break it up in the end zone, he'd actually slipped on that play and was able to get back and knock the ball away cleanly without getting a pass interference. I mean, I don't know how many game balls you get as a team at the end of the game, but he should have gotten them all.
Yeah.
And so we were the benefit, right? Castellanos is not a great throwing quarterback. Like we knew that. And when he threw one of the interceptions, like, yes, we didn't get a sack on him, but we got in his face and he threw it and had a bad throw. And if you could just limit the rushing game against Florida State, which I don't know how we did there. I hadn't had a chance to look at stats.
180 yards, 5.4 yards per carry.
That's too many. But to your point, like Macon, we've been talking about it all year. If you can just be good between the 20s, good enough, and then tighten up inside those 20s. And again, FSU's special teams did the rest.
Yep. No, absolutely. So, yeah, I mean,
they missed 2 field goals.
Yeah, 2 field goals, and they weren't even close either. Well, sorry, one of them was. I went right over but the second one wasn't even close. But yeah, the one that went literally right over the pylon, that was fascinating stuff, to say the least, for sure. Definitely a tough call there for referee, but hey, I'll take it. One to go swing our way here. But yeah, no, I mean that was kind of my point to it, was like, with Tommy Castellanos, like that first interception that wasn't even close. It's like, yeah, again, just he's been so Jekyll and Hyde, like, man, that Bama magic wore off quickly. So yeah, but I mean, from an NC State perspective, listen, got to give Doeren all the props. Yes, we can talk about it here for sure, how he handled time, from a time management perspective, the end of that first half. But at the end of the day, all that gets absolutely thrown under the bus after that 4th and 6 call, which I love. Like, I loved it. Like, and even if it didn't work out, listen, like, that's, your defense has done good enough where you could still, find a way to at least just limit to a field goal, go to overtime if, worst case scenario. But best case scenario, you're saying, listen, our offense, but also too, CJ Bailey owed us as well, like, with that third down pass where it was a little bit off. It's like, come on, CJ, like, that should have been the easiest touchdown you've ever had in your life, but he overthrew it a little bit. So hey, he got the ball to Jolie where he needed it, and Jolie came up huge for us. Go ahead, Greg.
Well, if you're going to give credit to Dave Doeren for going for it in the 4th quarter on 4th and goal, you got to give him credit for going for it in the first possession of the second half, where it was kind of a fake punt. I guess technically, I guess it went out as a fake punt, but like, again, the magic that is Will Wilson, that you just need 2 yards in a cloud of dust, and it's basically our version of a tush push, where you pretty much put Will Wilson in, and he's going to be almost, I think he's like 80 or 90% success rate. I think he's over 90% success rate on getting the 3rd and short, 4th and short. And we ended up going and getting a touchdown on that drive. That could have been disastrous had that gotten blown up, because I think we were around the 30-yard line, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. No, well, it was definitely, there's been some games this year where you've seen Will Wilson, some games you haven't. This game, you saw plenty of him. He had 9 carries for 33 yards and a touchdown. So, yeah, no, it was definitely Will Wilson was a big piece of the game plan. At least it ended up being that way once all things are said and done here. But, so, Carson, I mean, just to bring you in, I mean, one question is that, well, first, one thing that stands out to me, though Rogers had 0 catches, obviously he had the, one big target, which should have been for a touchdown at the end of the game. But, Jolie, 5 catches, Terrell Anderson, 4, Keenan Jackson, 3. Thoughts? Would you say, I mean, that, what's your thoughts kind of on how it, the ball is distributed?
Yeah, I think CJ is being kind of selective right now. There were a couple plays the other night where I saw Wesley Grimes wide open where you could have gone like 20,
there was
30
a big
yards
play there.
easily.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was like on the first play of the game as well, where Grimes was wide open and CJ didn't see him or didn't throw to him. So I don't know. I just think I would just prefer him to throw to the best target available.
Yeah. Listen,
He's
I think
definitely taking a safe approach.
Yeah. Well, because again, this is another game where honestly, yes, the box score looks okay. I mean, 18 for
It's
25,
clean.
153 yards. It should have been a 300-yard game. Like there was so many opportunities for so many big plays that were left on the table there. So it was that's kind of the frustrating piece for sure. Is it just doesn't seem like he's still very comfortable with his reads, just trying to keep the ball out of harm's way kind of approach. But again, hey, listen, you won the game, so we can't be too particular here for sure. But with that being said, when you're starting to talk about next season, evaluating, approach, it's just one of those things that listen, okay, like, you've got all the tools in the world, but in a situation like this, it shouldn't have come down to one play. Like we should have had this game won much sooner than it was actually won. So, but hey, again, we got the win. We'll take it. We're moving on. So with that being said, obviously moving on here, UNC coming to town here. Torrey Holt said it best. It's a game he has circled. Bill Belichick coming, but also too as well. I think that since it's I guess we could talk about it since we have the win and UNC didn't. But man, it's an interesting game if you're a UNC fan here, and we've tried to actually get on our friend here, Great Day Tar Heel, to hear his side of it. But on one side, you have nothing to play for from a bowl perspective. This Saturday will be their last game of the season since they're 4-7, but they're also right now 0-2 versus Wake Forest and Duke. And I would guess that going 0-3 in year one of Bill Belichick versus Wake Forest, Duke, and NC State is not something that would be accepted at all. So I don't know, Macon. Like Macon, do you think that UNC is going to kind of look at this, especially since most of these guys are newer faces, might look at this in-state game and say, whatever, like, season's over, it's been a rough year, screw it, I'm going to start thinking about next year? Or do you think that, yes, they maybe have not been here for long. This is Gio Lopez's first year, but balls on the wall. Let's go shock the world here.
To me, I kind of have mixed projections of how that could go. It's a rivalry game for them, so they'll get for that. They just had theirs against Duke, so maybe they want to get right with the state game. I did hear someone talk, not even a local guy, talking about he was looking at the rosters between, I think it was NC State, UNC, and ECU, and North Carolina kids on UNC's roster is in the 20s or less. The state has 60 kids on their roster from North Carolina. So to your point, Leighton, I don't know if some of the guys at UNC are going to care as much as some of the guys on NC State's roster who grew up living the rivalry in North Carolina. But I mean, they're not playing for anything anymore. They're not playing for a bowl game. They're just going to be trying to get one more win, I guess. And I could totally see them checking out. But I don't know how you can do that if it's a rivalry game. I just know that a couple years ago we said the same thing, and Carolina just came out flat, and they were a much better team. So totally could see this where UNC comes out flat. But it is also a rivalry game. So State's going to have to make sure they're playing really good football to make sure they get this win. So I thought Carolina didn't look too bad in that second half against Duke. I know they had the end of the game where they really just didn't play well, the very end of the game, but they put up 24 points or so, I think it was, maybe a little more than that. And
25, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think they looked so bad. I thought Gio Lopez, honestly, I've not really paid attention much to UNC. He looked better than he did against that TCU game.
Absolutely. Don't get much worse.
But I don't know. I could see a world where they get flat. The UNC's flat coming in this game, but I just don't know if growing up in the state of North Carolina for most of their roster, you just came off a rivalry game against Duke. They're not playing for anything anymore. I could see them checking out, but
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, no, well, and Greg, to give you a little context too, I mean, first of all, point I would say actually the biggest takeaway I took away from the Duke Carolina game is, God, we should have beaten Duke. But you know,
we're gonna get to the end of the season and have the what ifs again, like every year.
Virginia Tech.
100%. So, but so on the 19th, I guess keep in mind that like UNC Duke is one of those lines that opens like basically before the season even starts. So we can't really take into account what the spread was at that point. But when on the 19th, the spread was State was favored by 5. And then it quickly in a couple of days moved to NC State being favored by 7 to 7.5. So
I saw 8.5 somewhere, I thought.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know,
I read it somewhere. I haven't fact checked it, so
yep,
that could be wrong.
I kind of see that because Greg, I kind of see this game as a lot of because I do agree with Macon. I think it's going to be one extreme or the other. Either Carolina's going to be fired up, pissed off, and it's going to be a slobber knocker, or we may run them out of the building. Honestly,
yeah.
Because NC State is going to be pissed off. NC State is going to be fired up because a lot of these guys, CJ, Noah, Caden Fordham, you know, all these guys were a part of this game last year, so they know it.
Yeah.
Sean Brown.
Doran's going to get him fired up. Doran's going to have this.
Doran's done well against Carolina historically, so
exactly.
Yeah, so just looking at some of the stuff, like early in the season, Carolina obviously struggled. Now they're 1-5 in their last 6, but 4 of those are one-score games, having lost all of those. So you have seen some improvement from the beginning of the season. I don't know if there's enough there, but that does worry me that they have played better as the season has progressed, which is what you would typically want to see from your team. It's Carolina. Like, I'm never going to be like, oh yeah, we're going to win this game. Now for the fan in me is going to say that, but from like an X's and O's, which I don't know, but I would say it's going to be a slugfest. You know, we've owned the series as of late. They're still pissed off that we've, you know, planted their flag. We've planted our flag on their stadium the last 2 times that we were over there. So they're definitely looking for some payback in that regard. You know, there's definitely no love lost. I still think that we take this rivalry much more serious than they do, just by what Belichick came out and said in his initial press conference, that he learned the word beat Duke. Those were allegedly his first words.
Duke is their Super Bowl.
Yeah. So to that point, they just came off of that emotional loss to Duke, and now they have to come to Carter Finley with nothing to play for other than pride, which again, you know, if you're going to play for pride, this is the game that you play for pride.
Right.
State really has nothing else to play for as well, other than getting a better
bowl position. You know, but again, this is your rivalry, and if nothing else, Dave Doeren is 8-4 against Carolina in his last, you know, since he's been at State. He makes this a priority to go out and beat your rival. Like he makes no bones about it. And
8-4 is a very Dave Doeren record.
Yeah, exactly. It actually is. It's very much a microcosm of what he looks like as a whole. But again, typically NC State shows up for these games, and I expect it to be the same. By the way, like if anyone is, and I'm always a weather guy, the weather is going to suck from a cold standpoint. So do guys want to hit? Because it hurts when you hit in pads in cold weather. So it's going to be I want to impose my will on you kind of game. And if that's the case, I do like State's chances in that. By the way, this might be like the 4th or 5th coldest game ever played in Carter Finley Stadium.
What is the temperature going to be?
So it's going to get down to a low of 32. Around game time, it's going to be around probably 42 to 39, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, if it's going to be like that, talking about the hard-nosed, blue-collar mentality of NC State versus UNC, I think it's going to play in a factor. So.
I do. I definitely think it's going to have some bearing when it comes to the game. And that's the reason I think State's going to win this game. But I do think it's going to be close just because we haven't shown Other than the Campbell game, we haven't shown a propensity to just blow out somebody.
Yeah, no.
So-
But the one point which I want to make, Greg, because you said that this game, or sorry, maybe it was Carson too as well, said like this game doesn't matter. It actually matters in a big way, for one group of people in particular, and that was the preseason over/under win total bettors that betted at 6.5. And so keep in mind that bowl game wins, losses don't count towards this. It's only regular season, so 12 games. So sitting at 6-5 right now. There are a lot of people who have money on NC State over/under that
In
would
either direction.
very much just disagree with that. So
Yeah, that's actually kind of fun.
yeah.
I again, I just think that this team's going to be up for this game. I just don't see and then by the way, we're 5-1 at home this year. So we definitely play better at Carter Finley than we do away.
Oh, definitely.
And UNC is 1-4, 2-4 on the road.
Their only road win is Syracuse, who just got 70 put up on them.
So the only thing I'll say was my little closing comment is anybody remember from the 2007 to 2012 stretch where we got 5 straight T-shirts? It was when that whole got milk fad was on for advertisement. So they need to bring those back because hopefully we're gonna get 5 straight on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's weird too because like when you see like 4 in a row, 5 in a row, that's like a whole like. To your point, I think, Leighton, that you said it's different now that you have all these guys transferring in and out of the program. Most of these guys don't see 4 in a row, 5 in a row at the same school. But the coaches do. The coaches are like, hey, this is 4 in a row. This is 5 in a row. This is whatever. Like, you can't be the class that loses to this team.
Exactly.
Like, what is your legacy going to be?
Well, that's what I'm saying is that every single one of our coaches, starting with the head coach, going down to the assistant coaches, going to the strength and staff, going to the equipment staff, you name it, every single one of them, if you compare them, us versus them, care about this game more than the other side. Simple as that. Like you can't tell me that Bill Belichick or Lombardi or Freddie Kitchens or whoever cares about this game as much as 2J and those guys. Like,
well, you have a guy, you have a Coach Charlton who was on the staff last year for Carolina.
Exactly.
You can't tell me that he doesn't want to, have his guys go out there and impose their will.
Absolutely.
I think, like, he's going to talk to them. I guarantee you every meeting, like I coached these son of a bitches last year. I hate them because of what they did to me, and they took food off my table. Let's go kick their ass. Like I promise you that conversation's happening.
And to me, the game plan is simple as this. You bring 6 all night long at Geo. You force him to beat you. You force him. You shut down the run. You force him to beat you. Like, okay, you got to thread the needle on us. You got to do it quick too as well.
I know they got a tight end, but what else do they really have?
Well, that's did they even have a tight end? I mean, I thought it's just really Jordan Shipp, the wide receiver number 1.
Did you see the comment that he had post game against at Duke where he said that they had like a little brawl or a little fight, something like that after the Duke game? He made a comment. He said, "Yeah, that's what happens with rivalry games. You get in fights. Honestly, I expect there to be more fights next week." Like, that's kind of an odd thing to say, but he's kind of like, "Yeah, fights. That's what's going to happen. It's going to happen next week."
They tried fighting us last year, so
after the game,
common denominator.
Yeah, that was kind of an odd statement. Like, yeah, we're going to get in fights next week. Like,
well, and I think this to that point, right? Like, from a coaching perspective, you got to talk to your guys. Just be smart. Keep your head on a swivel. Don't fall for their shenanigans again. They have nothing to play for. They're going to try to pull you into some nonsense. Just do your talking with your play on the field. Just go drop a 50 burger on them and then send their asses back to Chapel Hill with 5 in a row. Like, now, that's how you fix those things.
I just want to see guys running around the stadium with this after they get the win. So
as they're waving by.
Exactly. Now, one other storyline though, which I think is for me is going to be focused on here for sure, is right now, even with all the injuries, Hollywood Smothers is 93 yards away from 1,000 yards rushing.
You can't tell me they don't want to get him that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like in the regular season, this doesn't need a bowl game. No, let's get this done this week.
And that's with him missing a whole game and only getting like 6 or 7 carries against Miami.
Yeah, no, exactly. And going for -3 yards or something like that.
Yeah.
So, no. So, like, and he got 84 versus Florida State, and that was basically after getting force-fed the ball from a running perspective. Like, yeah, no, he he's going to get there. Like, it's simple as that. So, like, I always love kind of like the week 17 in the NFL, where like the better side will talk about like, oh, like this guy is so and so yards away from getting $1 million bonus. So, know that like Hollywood Smothers being 93 yards away from 1,000 yards rushing will be our first 1,000-yard rusher since Reggie Gillespie in 2018.
Now,
like,
do you think with the way do you think the way the season has unfolded for Hollywood, do you think he's going to go get drafted now? Because I think early in the season we were saying absolutely.
Let's put it this way. I think he'd be a day 3 guy, at this point. I mean, but he has the intangibles for sure. But I mean, he just,
my point is, I think
like
it's
you
going to be
said,
good for State if he. I mean, you move good for him. Now then you have the problem of having him and Duke Scott there.
I mean,
which would be a good problem to have.
We'll have time to figure this out, but I would honestly just in 5 words or less, I'd be shocked if he came back.
Agreed. Either way. Yeah. Well, especially because I think you're going to, fortunately / unfortunately for him, especially with how good Duke Scott has been too, as well as that, in terms of looking at how much each is going to potentially cost again. But again, this is a off-season conversation here, but I mean, it's something to think about here for sure.
He's had a history too.
Well, because here's a comment here, and I think we'll kind of wrap it up here on this because I'm curious y'all's thoughts on this. But I saw a comment talking about Devin Marshall's performance, and like saying, oh, like, it was so awesome. I said, oh, it was so awesome to see this guy absolutely go off. And another guy said, no, it's not good at all. Now we're gonna have to pay him more next year, or now more teams are gonna go after him next year. Like, we don't want him to play as good. It's like, I get it.
He's a senior. I don't think he has any eligibility left, by the way.
So, but I mean, there's still like CJ Bailey. If he had balled out against Miami, like, oh no, now he's going to go to Miami. But now that he's sucked against Miami, it's like, oh, okay, great. Now Miami's not going to want him. Like, so Carson, I'll ask you here first. Like, is there honestly anything in you, like, if you look at, any player per se that you're saying, well, I don't want him to do too good because, now he's going to cost us more money or more teams are going to look at him. Like, does that thought ever really go through you? Or is it simply, no, I want you to ball out 500 yards passing every single game and make it that literally Bama's knocking down the door, during the offseason?
Yeah. I mean, I usually just want him to go out and play hard, play really well, because they're representing NC State, and when they don't play well or they don't put an effort, that reflects on NC State as well. So I want them to keep playing well.
Yep. And because Greg, I mean, like really for me, like, and I think we would all agree, and make out curious your thoughts on too. Again, right now, college sports is a year by year approach completely. There is no forward thinking at all. There should not be any forward thinking to next season, to 2 years from now. It doesn't matter. Who cares? It's this season. So at the end of the day, if CJ Bailey goes and wins the daggum Heisman this year, then and next year Bama's banging down his door with $12 million a year, oh well. That's really how I look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, again, you have to construct your roster as if you're going to have the guy, because you don't want to have any holes.
Sure.
But things are going to pop up. Like last year, we had 4 guys enter the transfer portal on the last day, like defensive guys that we thought were all going to be here to come this year. Now, granted, some things kind of happened behind the scenes that kind of led to that. But again, you have to prepare as if you're going to turn your roster over, by about 30 to 35 to 50% every year, no matter the sport. That's just the way it is. And to Carson's point, I'm totally with you, Carson. Go out and do your best as you can here, because the better you do, the better the team does as a whole. And go get the wins when you can get the wins. You can't count on wins next year. You don't even know what that's going to look like.
No.
I want everyone, because at the end of the day, they're going to do these young people are going to do what they have to do, not only for themselves, but their families and their futures, whether that's professionally in athletics or setting themselves up for a good, baseline to go into the real world.
Yep, exactly. Macon, what's your thoughts?
I tend to agree. They're just going to have to do better at that, but I think they'll be fine with it. So
Absolutely.
By the way, speaking of Devin Marshall, I don't know if you guys saw, but he was defensive back of the week. No shocker
He
there.
deserved it.
Yeah.
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 Hey,
Yeah.
before we close, I know we're getting over on time, but can we take like 5 minutes and talk about Rio? I don't know if that was on your plan to talk about. But
Yeah. No, go for it.
yeah, no, I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on, playing a game on a whole different continent, plus 2 hours away, opening the season now against a conference opponent. Just for anyone that's been under a rock for the last week, NC State and UVA have agreed to play a ACC conference game in Rio de Janeiro next year. It hasn't officially, I think, been announced as Rio, but like there's people out there that are
Brazil.
Yeah.
It's been announced as Brazil, but
What did I say?
Rio.
Rio.
Yeah, that's where the game's at in Rio.
Yeah, it's in
de
Rio.
Janeiro.
Yeah, but most announcements have just been like Brazil. And
Correct. No, agreed. But the underlying assumption is that the game will be in Rio.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Making, what's your thoughts on playing a game in Brazil? Because obviously you got Josh Pay who said it's the dumbest thing ever, but I
We're
don't
gonna
know.
get paid a Brazilian to
Dumb
go there.
things. All if it pays well, it pays well, and we need the money where we can find it. And so, it'd be a cool experience for the team. People might like to go travel and go down there and see some of the sites down in Rio. Do I think it's dumb? Generally speaking, yeah. But hey, if it's going to pay us a lot of money, then I'm okay with it. So
Carson, what's your thoughts?
pretty much with Macon, I'm glad it doesn't take one of our home games away. I'm glad it takes one of our away games away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I mean, I think for me, it's an opportunity. It's a once ever so often opportunity. It's gonna be very cool for sure to see. And also, too, hey, one benefit, you get to see you get to see football 1 week sooner than you would normally. So because now you're playing week 0 instead of week 1. So
It hasn't been officially announced there, but that's again the assumption.
That's the assumption. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, again, you're getting, couple million probably for it. It's going to be a good matchup. And again, it's just like, okay, the attendance, okay, who cares? At the end of the day, you're getting paid the same no matter if it's filled or if it's not filled. And, yes, it's not, it's not close. It's going to be tough for a lot of NC State fans to get there, but that's how it's going to be for any college that they picked for that game. So, it is what it is. So, but it's also a really cool place too, as well. If Rio is the place that's picked, it's a pretty cool spot to go. So, that's my 2 cents on it. But yeah, Greg, wrap us up here. Final thoughts.
Yep. Plan on being there. Already working on the.
Of course you are, Greg.
On the details. Yeah.
Are you even a fan?
I do think it's cool where you can say that you're going to be doing a first, right? And it will be the first ever game on South American continent. So, you kind of can lay claim to that win, lose, or draw.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we get a few new Brazilian fans out of the deal, and maybe we sell some extra merch. Maybe we raise some money. It's a pretty big continent, so I think it's cool. I get it from a fan perspective. Like if I was a UVA fan, I'd probably be pissed that I'm losing a home game. But in today's era, you need to find revenue streams where you can, especially if you're trying to be competitive and put together rosters, put together facilities. It's a necessary evil in today's world. And as soon as fans, and I put this on Twitter last week, as soon as fans realize that it's not really about them anymore, the better off they're going to be. And look, you can either bitch about it or get on board. And, as a paying consumer, you have the right to do either.
Exactly.
But it's just the way it's going to be moving forward. And if you want to be competitive and you're not willing to give money to the cause, well, this is what we have to do.
That's right. So to wrap it up here, folks, I'll leave you with 4 words that were said by a great philosopher when the times were the toughest, when you felt like, as a team that they have nothing to play for, and their backs against the wall, and they're facing the most heated rival, that this great philosopher came out and said, I understand the rivalry. So, man, if that didn't just absolutely fire Carolina fans up to say, oh my gosh, let's go, then I don't know what does. But so I understand it. Okay. I get it. Like, it's a rivalry. I get it. Okay. So, anywho, though. But with that being said, again, appreciate all of Wolfpack.
Wait.
Go ahead,
I got some final things to say about the game real quick.
Ooh.
So did y'all hear what Belichick said when asked about previewing Duke and rivalry stuff?
Oh yeah,
he said we had rivalries in the AFC East when I was on the Patriots. And I don't know about you, but if you're an NFL fan, like if you're a Patriots fan in the offseason, do you ever say, "Oh yeah, we got to beat the Dolphins this year"?
Not like the NC State Carolina. Yeah, no.
Yeah. And if you look at their schedule, this will easily be the toughest environment they play in all year.
Mm-hmm. Oh, easily.
They've done Charlotte, UCF. UCF's kind of okay.
It's not Carter friendly.
No, they went to Cal. Syracuse is tough, but really only when they're good.
Mm-hmm.
Wake is kind of mid, and then you go from that to Carter Finley at night.
Mm-hmm.
That is quite the drop right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think this game is going to come down to like one of two scenarios. I think of two past state Carolina games come to mind. The first, which is 2 years ago in 23, where we just absolutely steamrolled them from the beginning.
That's also
and that very well could happen. The second one I think could happen is 2017, where it's close for like the first 3 quarters, maybe State's up 5-6 at the end of the third, and then State pulls away in the fourth and wins by like 13-14.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it. So with that being said, again, excited about this week. It's going to be awesome here for sure. Again, starting off with a huge win by the Ice Pack, 7-0 over UNC. Again, got a great game coming up here. It's bundle up, wear a couple layers. You're going to need it here for sure, but let's pack this. Yeah. Of Coke. Yeah. No, of Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola. Yeah. So with that being said, Wolfpack Nation, if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you enjoyed this conversation, remember to hit that like button. And also, as well, if you listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to us, do us a big favor, leave us a 5-star review. We greatly appreciate that as well. And make sure to give us a follow, Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. But with that being said, go Pack, and always beat Carolina, baby. Let's go.